We are talking about business, AI, and the future of skills. What skills are going to be valuable in the future? How is AI becoming mainstream? How is that affecting businesses? How is it going to affect you as a customer, as an employee? You work for a small firm, a bigger firm, you run your own show, you're an entrepreneur. It's going to affect every one of us. So I just wanted to have this informal chat. We'll be moving on to questions a little later, but I'll just share with you my view on how I look at AI, because it's flooded with headlines, a lot of different perspectives lately. So I'll share with you what I feel about AI and and where we're headed on that front, and then we'll engage in discussion. So yeah, and for the Facebook group, yeah, okay, everyone's coming in. Got 9 viewers. Okay, Ellarkum namaskaram. We are starting. Okay, welcome, awesome. Okay, yes. Hi, Shrikant. Yep, thank you. Okay, it's my first time going live, so let me just see how do we interact over here. I can reply to your comments. Wave. Okay, cool. Okay. Wow. Okay, so we'll move on to AI, but before that, I'm not sure if all of you have seen the video I made about AI. It was titled "How I Look at AI." It was a pretty long video, so we covered many different aspects, many different sectors, and we spoke quite a bit about those. In this video, what I plan to do is start a little differently, because right now we're all locked down. Obviously, we're sitting at home. That's the very reason we're doing live and we're able to get so many people. Is everyone is stuck at home? Half of the world is under lockdown. And it'll be a good time to just see how COVID is affecting business, and that'll be a good transition into talking about how AI itself is. I'll tell you why. Because look at this. It's be a good place to start. If you look at the COVID situation right now, as Fauci and all the other guys are advising, you have your first wave, okay, and apparently, if things if we lock down, keep things under control, this one settles down, then we go in for our second wave. That's the big headline right now, right? We're going to go into a second wave, during which there are going to be much more cases, probably a second lockdown. So that's what they're telling us. There's going to be a second wave, and then so on. But here's the thing. All of that are just theories. They are just theories, okay? It might be coming from experts, but they are theories. I'll tell you a little bit of fact that's going on right now. As this so-called curve flattens, as they say, I'll tell you another curve. This is not really a curve. It's a big steep line. Let me tell you what that is. So this might be COVID cases, but watch this. Unemployment globally, India, Singapore, US, UK, the rest of Europe. Watch how unemployment is. It's off the sky. Unemployment. We're talking in Singapore itself. I think most of my viewers are in Singapore. So Singapore, okay, we're hardly 5-6 million people. 20,000 jobs, nearly 20,000 jobs were lost in Q1 this year, is what they're telling us. Okay, and if you take India, we have 120 million jobs that are just vanished, okay, because of obviously COVID. But here's the thing, we'll see if it's really because of COVID-19 or it was bound to happen a little later. But 122 million Indians. So that's just to give you an idea that, look, this is unemployment. What we're going to see in the second wave is probably much more unemployment and much more bankruptcies. Many more businesses going to go completely out of business, off the roof. So these two curves actually happening. Okay, this is actual fact. This is theories, maybe sound, maybe not, coming from experts, doesn't matter. But these two curves, these two lines, unemployment is off the roof. What are we going to do about it? You can say we're going to, stimulate the economy. We have stimulus packages all over. Singapore is very generous with their stimulus packages in terms of how much they're giving people who might lose their jobs or have lost their jobs, how much they're supporting small businesses. In the US, they announced $1,000 a month, and in India also, we are constantly seeing more and more support for the people who are affected by this from an employment standpoint. Okay, but here's the thing. All the jobs that are being lost, yeah, probably COVID-19 aggravated the whole thing, but which are the sectors that are losing the most jobs? Which are the sectors? Let's look at the sectors. We have hospitality. What is hospitality? Hotel industry. Okay, any customer facing industry which is heavily reliant on, you know, physically people coming to you know, hotspots like a hotel. So hospitality industry, hotels bookings is down to zero. It's illegal to even, you know, travel to most places. So hotels down. Airlines, again, hospitality, it's no one's traveling, so that's affected. All the people who were stewardess, all the people working for the flight crew, these guys, I mean, they've in Singapore Airlines, they've just told them that, look, you're still on, I mean, it's unpaid leave is what they're saying. So you're with the company, but you're not getting paid because there is no work. Okay, so that's the situation in terms of the sectors that are most affected will be hospitality and food and beverages. So, you know, in Singapore we see so many you know, small shops, many more in India as well, where you just have small establishments. They sell a drink or two, couple of snacks. All these places are not allowed to operate in this time. So food and beverage, all the restaurants, okay, restaurants of all sizes. You have the lowest end, you have mid-range restaurants we go to most often. It's Friday evening, Saturday night, that's how we used to spend our time. You have all the way to high-end restaurants. Across the range, restaurants are suffering, okay? Yeah, okay, hi. Okay, great to see everyone come in. Across the range, restaurants are suffering, hotels are suffering, airlines are suffering. What is common in all of these industries? It's physical interaction. It's people actually, you know, interacting with the customers, whether it's the flight guys, whether it's people serving your food in a restaurant. It's all physical interaction. And here's the thing. Even if we didn't have the whole COVID-19, within the next 3 to 5 years, okay, especially with McDonald's, you can now do a complete order in the kiosk. A lot of other restaurants are testing iPads just for ordering, because think about it, it's a job that a bot can do so much more efficiently than a human being. Okay, hi Shafiq, hi Gokul, awesome. Okay, so the bot itself can do the job so much better in terms of serving the food, and of course you don't have the human interaction. I'll come to that in a bit and why that's important, but the bot is so much better at doing that job. You don't have to deal with complaints, you don't have to deal with people reporting sick, nothing. The bot just is there. It's a one-time investment. You can finance it over a couple of months, and they do a great job. So bots were anyway bound to replace these couple of sectors that I spoke about. What we are seeing right now is most of the unemployment due to this sort of you know, structural one, where these people were bound to be out of jobs anyways in the next 3 to 5 years. We're seeing the blame being put on COVID-19, which is true. Obviously, this aggravated it, but amongst all the headlines you're reading, just think about it. Which are the sectors you're seeing layoffs? Is Facebook laying off? No, Facebook isn't, right? We're doing live. I mean, they have a great business. So many more people are using it. I mentioned in a recent video, it should come out soon. Social media usage has gone up 60% during lockdowns. Ever since the first lockdown, 60% more time is what we're spending on social media, whether that's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, 60% more. So all these companies are doing well. You take Amazon. Amazon is the only company that is hiring over 100,000 people. Which company is hiring? Amazon is saying, we can't cope with the demand. We need to hire 100,000 people to take care of the warehousing and getting the items shipped, taking care of the site. So Amazon's doing very well, e-commerce, and of course all these digital platforms. The industries that are affected are large businesses in one of these sectors: hospitality, airline industry, restaurants, or every one of the other small businesses. Okay, so it's small businesses and big businesses in specific sectors. So in the AI video, we were, hey, hi Rajesh uncle, yeah, awesome. Great to see all of you here. Hi Anand, okay, awesome. Dharmik Ruchi, okay, great to see all of you. Yeah, okay. So am I going a bit too fast? A bit excited. It's my first live stream. So anyways, that is a rough overview of what we are going through right now in the lockdown period, and I just wanted to put it out there that look at which sectors are suffering the most. These are sectors that were prone to be laying off a lot of people in the next 3 to 5 years, even if not for COVID. So just think about that. Yes, Shafiq agreed. Service sector and tourism, absolutely. Yes, tourism, travel agents. Travel agents are completely jobless. I mean, there's no need for an agent anymore. You have great online sites. They put together all the flights, and I can do my booking there. There's no middleman. They take a small cut probably, but I don't need a travel agent. You don't need tellers at banks. You don't need customer service operators. All of these jobs, all of these mundane, repetitive jobs that you can train a bot to do much better than a human being, they're already training them, because we see it's so much more efficient. You know, a simple way to think about it is, if anything can be digitized or automated in the next 5 to 10 years, it will be. It's as simple as that. Okay, truck drivers driving, with self-driving becoming more mainstream. I mean, see, actually self-driving, the technology is there. From what we see, the technology is there, whether it's Tesla and a bunch of other research going on. The technology is in place. The only thing stopping all the Uber drivers losing their jobs, or all the bus drivers being asked to stay at home, is that it's not legal yet. There's a lot of regulation about this. You can't really have the car drive itself, because let's say there's an accident, then who's responsible? There are a lot of questions like this that is stopping the mainstream adoption of technologies like self-driving cars, which by itself could displace couple million, tens of millions of people who are full-time drivers, full-time lorry drivers, full-time delivery men, full-time grab food guys. All of these people that we see, they could be completely jobless once the bots take over. Someone says video is breaking. Is it okay? Okay. Yes, COVID-19 merely sped up the digitization. Agreed, Shafiq. Exactly. Even the medical sector, let's face this, even the medical sector. So what we understand is apparently the mainstream news tells us that that the hospitals are all full with COVID-19 cases, and because of that, people who have regular respiratory issues, regular chronic issues, are not getting their surgeries, treatment in time. Okay, so one of the predictions I was making earlier is that we're going to see an increased adoption of tele medical services. So over the phone, like exactly like how we're interacting right now. What if a doctor could address all of his patients? Won't that be cool? And again, that is going to happen. So exactly, COVID-19 is just aggravating a bunch of sectors that were already set to be automated or digitized in some way or another. And how are they automated or digitized? It's using AI, artificial intelligence. Hey, Suraj. Yeah, okay. Yes. So the thing is this. If you look at English movies, Hollywood movies, all these sci-fi movies, they generally paint this picture of the world, 10, 20 years down the line, it's all taken over by robots, and they're telling us what to do, and we're just slaves to that. The thing is, you must understand, these are movies, these are exaggerations, it's done for entertainment. That's not the case, okay? There are a lot of skills that only humans are able to do, and bots will never be able to replace that. Let me give you a couple of examples. An easy way to think about this: if you take the education system, for instance, I put a post out the other day. Okay, we're listening. Yeah, I put a post out the other day. It said, and I think it was used in the banner for this live video announcement. It said, "We are taught to have the right answers and not ask the right questions." Okay, if we just rewind back to how the education system is affecting the kind of talent we have ultimately in the workforce when people grow up, it's the education system. We're constantly asked to memorize a bunch of information, write down answers. Now here's the thing, I really hate to break it to you, but guess what? Information is useless. Information is useless. I'll say that again. Information is absolutely useless. Okay, if you can take information, you leverage it to do something, you create something out of it, that's different. But information as it is useless. 100 years ago, okay, if I had a Bible or something, that book or any subject, let's say a thick book on that subject, that was extremely valuable. 100 years ago, I could proudly say, I have this book at home, while all of my friends don't. I have this whole Britannica library. For those of you who know Britannica, it's the almanac kind of series. It pretty much covers every major subject in the world. You have this huge series of books, right? So information, Those days, information was valuable. Even in the late 70s, 80s, it was worth retaining information, because you come into the workforce, you're going to have to use that information constantly. But today, what is the point in memorizing the definition of an atom? Google, my friends, just Google. Take your phone out and Google. Okay, in a classroom, they're telling you to memorize the definition of an atom. Take your phone out and Google it. It's right there. Why should you do that, right? How do you conduct experiments? That's a valuable skill. How do you use that knowledge to do something with chemicals, whatever? But that is the knowledge. It's not memorizing the definition, or state 5 characteristics of so and so. So I'm just illustrating the point that more and more people think that information is going to save them. It isn't. The moment I can digitize all of that information as an entrepreneur, I digitize that information. I create an AI system to crawl through all the data, right? Let's say a huge library of definitions. Okay, the AI makes decisions as to, okay, which data sets are the most valuable. It picks out the most relevant data, puts it all together for me, displays it, combines all the data from my customers' usage, and I get to see it all in one place. Do you really think I need to hire a person for that? No, you don't. So information is useless, and the more we understand that, the more we'll start to ask, okay, what are the skills that will be valuable 5, 10, 15 years from now? What are those skills? And those skills are human-only skills. Anything that cannot be automated or digitized will skyrocket in value. Okay, let me give you an example. Communicating, exactly what we're doing right now. Okay, this is something that would you like to have this session with a bot? Would you like it if there was this great program which would kind of create an interface out of my face, and that interface would be talking to you like a digital Prahlad? Would you like that? Okay, it's not that engaging. Okay, it's not that engaging. So communicating, extremely valuable skill. Yes, Shafiq, agreed. Let me just read this. Jobs like social workers cannot be replaced by bots. Exactly. So that's an example of an NGO, an actual initiative where you're interacting with people. Okay, that would be sound, of course. Maybe those industries could use a lot of AI to put together a lot of data. But ultimately, when it comes to interacting with those communities, yeah, people need to be involved. That is right. Anyways, so yeah, that's communication is one. Negotiation, being able to talk things out, that's another. Creativity is a big one. Okay, how many people are still creative after the whole after going through school and college and further studies? How many people are able to come up with ideas on their own? Okay, I mean, even if you do come up with an idea, it's probably something you read online, something you read in a book. That's, again, it's information. It's not an original thought. So creativity, being able to come up with creative solutions for something on the spot, is an extremely valuable skill that you can monetize yourself, or that companies would be looking for. It's a skill that a bot cannot replace. You can't really teach a bot to be creative, because its creativity is just dependent on the data you feed it. The more data you feed it, the more so-called creative it can be, the more conclusions it can draw. But it's not actually, sometimes you get an idea, I don't know where this idea came from. It just bounces in your head. You all experienced that, hey, I just got this idea. I don't know what, I just got up in the morning. I got this idea it's out of thin air. It feels like it's out of, that's creativity. That's creativity. To come up with ideas is creativity. It's an extremely human skill. And if you are a creative person, you will always survive. Doesn't matter what software, what AI, what digitization, big data kicks in, you will be extremely valuable if you're a creative person and know how to adapt and pivot in time. So yeah, those are a couple of examples: communication, negotiation, creativity, questioning. So regarding creativity and questioning, think about this. Today we have roles roles within a company that never existed just 10 years ago. What are they? Like the stuff like data analysts. Data analysts didn't exist 20 years ago. Okay, data science engineers. Okay, these roles didn't exist 5-10 years ago. They're very recent developments. While everyone says AI is destroying jobs, and people are going to lose their livelihoods 50 years from now, the truth is that it's also creating so many more jobs. And one of them is anything related to data, and then you also have so regarding the skills, I'll just sum it up this way. if it's a human only skill and it cannot be digitized, it's going to become extremely valuable. Today, being creative might be okay, valuable enough, but imagine 10 years from now, there could even be entire positions within a company at executive level called, chief creative officer or creative teams, where your entire job is to sit in rooms and come up with ideas. Can you believe that? That's a very realistic possibility, where, because all the bots will do the mundane stuff, all the robots, all the AI will take care of the information. Okay, what we need humans for is to come up with creative solutions to problems we are facing. That's an extremely valuable skill. Don't be surprised. Chief creative officer, we already have chief innovation officer. So we'd be seeing many more new roles of this sort that clearly leverage human only skills. So while AI is destroying a lot of these mundane jobs like driving, it's also going to create so many more jobs. You think about this. We spend an average of 400 hours, drivers, okay? We spend an average of 400 hours driving in a single year. You do the math on it, 20, 30 minutes a day, you're already there. 400 hours is what you spend driving in a year. You know what that 400 hours could be used for? You could while it away on Netflix. Yeah, sure, that's entertainment. You could just watch a TV show. You could learn something online. You could do a course. You could interact with more people. You could build a side hustle. You could start a business. You could start some initiative. You could start an NGO. You could be part of something larger. That's 400 hours gained just because driving. We are liberated from the mundane activity of driving. That's just one example. So just remember that there are so many more opportunities being created right now that just didn't exist 10, 15 years ago. So again, just keep that in mind. That's AI, a little bit on skills. And then, okay, let's see if we have any questions. Okay. Guys, okay, let me just preface, okay, for those who joined a little later, feel free to ask questions right now. Okay, we if a few questions I already dealt with right now, but toward the end we can have a dedicated Q&A session. If there are more questions, we can do that for sure. But otherwise, feel free, just participate in the conversation, show me some love, give me the likes, right? Okay, so those are the industries, those are the skills that would be valuable as AI kicks in. Let me talk about a concept that is I'm not sure if all of you have heard of. It's universal basic income. Now, I just want you to understand, before I made this video, I was talking to a friend about this, and she said, no, this isn't this video about technology. I said, yeah, it's about AI and skills and all of that. But see, it's not just about technology right now. It's not a technological problem, the whole AI. It's become a political problem. When people are going to be unemployed from something, it's not just a technological issue. It's now an economical issue. It's a political issue. So how do we deal with this? A lot of questions, a lot of possible debates on that front. And one possible way to tackle this sudden job disparity, sudden loss of jobs at a scale we've never seen before, is what they're calling universal basic income. What's universal basic income? It's a fixed few $100s, $1,000 or so given to you every month for those of you who would be unemployed due to AI. So if AI takes over your job and you become redundant in the workforce, universal basic income is supposed to take care of your basic necessities, and it's a payment given by the state, right? It's given with the taxpayers' money. So that's one possible way they are planning to tackle the rise of AI and a sudden increase in number of jobs that will be destroyed. But here's the thing, think about this. I was just talking to this guy the other day. You look at the stimulus packages right now. We're all sitting at home. It's illegal to step out and go to work, okay? Look at the stimulus packages. They're saying, okay, we'll give you $1,000, we'll give you $2,000, we'll give you a few $100s, right? What is that? What is that? That's a payment given to you for not delivering any work. Well, let's be clear. It's a payment given for you to sit at home, right? Just to take care of your basic necessities. Now, what if I just rename stimulus package as UBI, Universal Basic Income? Let me write this down. It's UBI. UBI. You can search this up. There are a lot of people like Andrew Yang in the United States. He was a presidential candidate. A lot of people are talking about UBI. Pope Francis mentioned that we must have UBI. So UBI is going to become a very important conversation topic for debate in the next couple of months, or probably for the next couple of years as well, because this is a long-term issue. Yeah. Okay. So so I was just thinking, the whole stimulus thing. Every country is pretty much giving out stimuluses to their people, whether they can afford it or not in the long run. They're giving it out. What if we just rename it? What if I call it a UBI? That's exactly what it is. The situation right now might have allowed for a lot of new initiatives to just kick in, while we don't really see the cause effect relationships over here. Like I said, if we just rename the stimulus packages as some sort of a UBI, some sort of an unemployment benefit, your perception completely changes. In the US, we have so much college debt, right? College debt, you would have heard the issue. It's much more than credit card debt, much more than any kind of debt. What if we just rename college debt? Okay, again, it's just a perception game. What if we rename college debt as a graduate tax? How would that sound? Where you pay something every month, okay, but it's not called college debt that you're repaying. We are calling it a graduate tax. I'm just illustrating that just changing a few words can dramatically change your perspective on how you perceive an issue, how you perceive an initiative, how you perceive a certain move by a business, a state, a government. Okay, just a few words. That's the kind of difference it can make. So during this time, you'll be reading so many more headlines about how the situation is so bad and a lot of things are happening. But watch what's also happening during these lockdowns. Digital based businesses, Facebook, all the social media, Zoom, all the companies that have built a digital infrastructure are doing very well. People who never who were never good at computers are now forced to learn how to use Slack and Zoom, and they have to do that to continue with work, to interact with their colleagues. So this state that we're in is kind of pushing all of us to really stretch the limits of what's possible using technology. Sometimes we need a crisis of this sort to realize how much untapped potential there is in technology. I made a post the other day about how we shouldn't be blaming social media or technology for how people say, oh, he's just hooked on his phone. It's all technology. Kids these days, complaining this sort. Well, the reality is this. Let me just give you the reality. If you're the kind of person who's sitting and waiting for likes, you're exactly the kind of person that 20 years ago would be spending 1 hour deciding what to wear and see what because what will other people think of me. You see, it's a basic human tendency. It's social media and technology are just amplifying basic human technology. It's a basic human tendency. It's not technology's fault. It's not social media's fault. You see over here, we're leveraging social media so well. Okay, we've got so many people right now listening to the live stream. We're having a conversation on such an important topic. This couldn't have been done 20 years ago. There's so much value in it. Okay. People say, is social media manipulating the way we think through their algorithms? Again, AI, they use algorithms to show us what we see on our feed on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Are they manipulating us is the question. Well, let me ask you, aren't you manipulating it? Aren't you manipulating it by showing just how interested you find cat videos? Because I've manipulated my feed to show me only relevant stuff. I'm very happy with my feed, to be frank. So the question is, again, it amplifies your tendencies. If you're the kind of person who found it difficult to engage yourself 20 years ago, right now that it's worsened because you're getting attention so easily. You get that dopamine hit. You just feel happy when you come online. So again, technology, social media, digital interaction, they only amplify tendencies we have always had as a species. So once you understand that, you're able to judge AI, judge these latest developments in a very realistic way, and you see, okay, how can I tap onto it rather than complain about it? So that's the way I look at AI, and my entire video on how I look at AI was essentially this. We broke down a lot of different sectors that are affected. What are the future sectors look like? How are jobs being affected? What are the skills that we just covered that are human only, which will become much more valuable? So that was the idea, and I really just want to provoke a conversation over here. You should be listening to a couple of guys regarding this topic, and you'll be able to come up with your opinion. You see, that's another thing. Don't just go by what a single person, a single leader, a single political figure, a single business head has to say. Have 4, 5, 6 different sources, watch all of them, watch contradicting opinions, read them, talk about them, and then come up with your unique perspective as to, okay, this is the stand I'm taking, this is how I look at AI, this is how I look at skills, this is what I think is going to happen after you combine what you learn from multiple sources. That feeling is magical, where you combine everything that you learn, and then you come up with you listen to 8 sources, and then you come up with a 9th opinion that is yours, that is an original thought, and that is extremely valuable. Your perspective, your way of looking at things, your lens to the world, extremely valuable, because that's going to be the only thing left once all the jobs are taken over. Your hands and legs, not as valuable. What's valuable is your original thought, is your perspective, how you look at things. So, okay, we covered quite a bit, right? Covered jobs, AI, digitization, not blaming social media and technology, UBI, universal basic income, skills of the future. How about we look at questions right now? Okay, got quite a bit of questions. Yeah, we covered social workers in the field then. Okay. So Shafiq is he mentions that I feel some of the digitization is important as it has a positive effect on the environment. Lesser cars, lesser pollution. That's absolutely right. Shrikant, okay, are there any courses which can prep us for the future? Okay, so this is a very lovely topic, and let's just give me a few minutes here. Okay, this is something I'm super excited about as to what's happening right now. Take education, take specifically college education. What are we seeing right now? What we are seeing is the greatest schools in the world: Stanford, Harvard, Wharton, Cambridge, Oxford, all these big schools, Ivy League schools that people looked up to, that they aspired to get into. Now they've gotten into that, and now what's happened? They say, okay, there's a lockdown, and you have to go back home. So the actual experience of going to a college is cut, and all you're doing is sitting at home and watching a couple of lectures online, probably doing a few tests online, but it's all online. You don't have any interaction. You don't have interaction with the professors. You don't have peer-to-peer interactions. You don't have community events. You don't have networking sessions. Everything that was exciting about college is suddenly stripped away. And if you went to some of the top schools, you spent what, $250,000 going to it, and now you're sitting at home. I mean, you really think the digital infrastructure is worth that much? What we are seeing right now is education, okay? Education as a sector is being disrupted. Very silently is being disrupted. We're just at the beginning of this, because right now, schools and colleges, what they did is they just figured out a way to take their existing lessons and lectures and courses and make them available online. But that's nothing. That's just taking information that was on paper and making it available online. But I'm saying there is going to be a major change in the way people value their degrees, value their education, because right now you can have the best piece of paper in the world. No one is hiring you except what, Amazon, except a few different sectors. No one is hiring you. Your paper is worthless. People are going to wake up to that idea that, okay, what am I going to school for? And what you should be going to school for are the skills that are going to become valuable in the future, like we covered earlier. So I think there's a big wave coming in terms of education. And okay, answering a question about courses, I've done a couple of courses, not specifically about AI, but in the realm of technology and digitization quite a bit. I personally feel that, and these are courses from great universities, by the way, I did them online. I personally feel, having done multiple courses of that sort, the most beneficial is still YouTube. Because on YouTube, you get so many different perspectives. You get to see so many experts. Because if it's a college course, there's a select few number of professors who have their expertise, and they say the same things in their limited band. But the thing is, with YouTube, the possibilities are endless. There's just so much to learn on YouTube. And in terms of AI, a person I would mention is Leonardo. Leonardo, I'll say that again, Gerg. He calls himself the futurist, Gerg Leonardo. Okay, some of his videos are in German and Swiss and all, so he's a European guy, but there are a lot of English ones as well. And he calls himself a futurist, as I said. He consults companies on how they should be digitizing their infrastructure, how they should be moving with tech, and he has a lot of views about AI. He's very vocal about his views. He's got couple different good YouTube videos from 5-10 minutes to half an hour, 1 hour videos that you could check out. Or there's a book by him called Technology versus Humanity. Excellent book. That's entirely by him. Technology versus Humanity. Excellent book that shows you the technology, the political side of it, the economic issues, everything about how what's going to happen once AI becomes mainstream. You can learn in that book, Technology versus Humanity by Leonardo. The other book would be The Future of Business. Future of Business is a compilation of 20-30 different thinkers, academics, business people, people who have views about technology and AI. They've put together this book. So each chapter is an individual person, and again covers all these aspects that we're talking about, from what is the core technology itself, what is AI. You know, most of us don't really understand. It's a buzzword, right? You know, so what is AI? You learn that. You'll go in depth in technology. Or if your focus is more on the politics and the economic issues, that's covered very well. The book is about 500-600 pages, so you don't have to read every single chapter, but pick and choose the ones that you like. It's The Future of Business. Leonard is also there. He has a couple of chapters, but also many other experts have their views in this book, The Future of Business. Also, another thing I like to do is, before getting a book, before buying a book, before investing in a course, you know, just explore everything that he or she has to offer on YouTube. You know, and once you're comfortable with the person's viewpoint, then you go ahead and invest in, you know, a book or a, and I'm saying invest, you know, not spend on a book. It's an investment. You're investing in yourself. Okay, then you invest in a book or a course. So that'll be a good. These are a few that are coming on top of my mind right now. Leonardo, search him up. And his book Technology versus Humanity, that's 2, and 3 is The Future of Business. These, I mean, just read these. Is so much better than 90% of the courses on AI, is what I feel. What will the future generation expect education sector? The future is really, okay, so colleges have to figure out a way to justify, you know, charging kids hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to college. So they're going to have to justify that. There are 2 ways you can justify it. You're going to have to create more value, right? Justify that by creating more value, or just bring down the price. Those are the only 2 options, right? So education is becoming so much more accessible right now. What we're seeing is, because everything is online, the most rural areas, people have access to top-notch education. The video I mentioned by Leonardo, a kid in a rural village, he has a basic internet connection. He can learn the same thing as you and me in a high-tech city with great fiber optic internet. He can learn the same thing, you know. So again, information is becoming so readily available that it's absolutely useless. Retaining anything in your mind is useless. What we should be training ourselves to do is to be able to think in a critical way, analyze things, question things, and essentially have your own perspective. So education, they're going to have to figure out a way. The future is clearly in a much more open ecosystem, where it's not a few brands. You know, let's face it, you know, Stanford, Harvard, all these, I believe they're brands, they're luxury brands. You know, you say you're from a certain place, it means something. It's like, you know, you're part of a rich club in your community. You know, that's what adds to it. You know, it's a limited supply of certificates that they issue every year. That's what creates value for it. And this model of having a limited number of people that you certify, you know, Harvard, for instance, they have a huge endowment fund. Okay, their endowment fund, apparently they can educate 3 to 4 times the number of people they are doing today. Why do you think they're not doing that? It's because if you have that large a student base, it's not that valuable anymore. The only reasons these colleges survive and people respect them is the value they've created. And right now, everyone is sitting at home, and it's very clear there is all the value of being physically there and interacting and learning from different people is zero. Everything is online. So they're going to have to figure out a way to deal with that. What I think will happen in the next 5 to 10 years is it becomes much more scattered. You know, there are so many experts available online, so many different, distinct points, different people that you can go to for different things. You know, schools right now, students who, you know, let's say primary school students, secondary school students, what are they doing? They're sitting at home right now. They listen to a basic lecture from school, okay, it's compulsory, they do it. But what do you think they do after that? They go on YouTube and they go to Khan Academy, and then they search for that particular topic and see who's the best at teaching them that particular topic. So if it's calculus, they go and search up calculus. They learn the best from the best people. So we're going to see a huge band of different people who are great at different things, and all their content being available online, and people pick and choose. Okay, I go here for some business advice, I go here for learning about technology, I go to GERD for about AI, I go to these few people for chemistry, math, and physics. People are going to have such a large array of options to choose from, that no one school, college, or institution is going to become valuable. It's going to be the future, as you asked, answering your question, is much more of a larger spectrum, where you pick and choose from experts and you learn what they have to say. And it's not that you have to learn math, physics, chemistry, and no, you pick and choose and you get great at it. So I think that's also something very liberating right now, is you don't have to be, I think that's what's going to happen, is you don't have to be learning all the subjects, because again, it's not really useful. If you know what you want to do, you can double down on your strength, is what I think is happening in terms of education. Okay, what do you think of it when will change the world? Come to know top 3. What do you think will change? What do you think will change? Okay, let me read this out. This one's interesting. Okay, we'll take 2 more questions. I see some interesting ones over here. Just two questions. One is, what do you think the COVID pandemic will do to change the world once everything gets back to normal? How will the changes affect each one of us? Okay. So this I spoke about in a video that should be out tomorrow, which is about the top 10 businesses that are booming during COVID-19. There are some businesses that are doing very well. For example, e-commerce. Many more people are ordering things online. Groceries are moving online. 56% more sales of groceries is happening online due to COVID, of course. So the question is, this is what I like to ask myself. Even theaters, okay, me being in the media space, theaters are closed. Okay, box office numbers went from millions, the amount earned from selling tickets, they went from millions to a few thousands right now. It's practically zero. No new movies coming to the theaters. There's no point, right? So okay, theaters, restaurants, a couple of businesses that you absolutely have zero access to. My question is this: once the once the lockdown is over, once it's really over, towards later this year, if there's a second or third one, once it's really over, would people's habits have evolved? For example, for cinema, although I believe that cinema will continue to be a very relevant experience, will people have just found it super exciting and fun to just watch something on Netflix, and they don't see value in going to a theater anymore? Or will it be so convenient to order your basic groceries online, and they just come every few days or weeks, and you're not that excited to go and buy your groceries and support the small businesses in your area? Is that a possibility? So the question I like to ask myself is, all the trends we are seeing right now, the businesses that are booming, for example, Zoom. I think Zoom, for instance, is going to continue to grow even after lockdown, because companies would have found it so much more valuable to have these interactions online. They could cut on travel spending. They could cut on hosting a lot of events. Zoom is going to continue to grow. So that's an example. I think even Netflix usually they add about 7 to 8 million subscribers every single quarter. You know how many they added Q1 2020? Double that. Double the expected. 15 million new subscribers to Netflix, because everyone's stuck at home, and this is a good avenue to engage yourself while you're at home. So entertainment consumption has gone up. The question is, maybe it becomes a habit, and people go to Netflix and YouTube much more often, as opposed to stepping out. So a lot of physical businesses, retail stores, shopping malls could be affected. So that's a question. I'm just giving you a general answer, because I just want to I want to just share the way I look at it, rather than listing, okay, this is what I think is going to happen. I'm sharing with you how I look at it, so you could process the issue in the same way, which is the question I just asked myself is, will these trends continue? Will these habits form in a way that changes our spending patterns as soon as the lockdown is over? So that answers your question, Rajesh. Do you see any specific? Okay, this is a good one from Suraj. Do you see any specific area or application of AI being implemented in Singapore? Okay, see, Singapore, we're a very small country, and it's very easy to regulate businesses, very easy to implement laws because people comply with it, and if they don't, you have you have enough resources to tackle that. So there are very strict laws over here, and I think Singapore will be at the forefront of a lot of regulations that are coming because of COVID. Okay, and I'm not here to say whether those are justified or not, but I'm just telling you Singapore will be at a forefront compared to many other countries in terms of how many new regulations are implemented as soon as the lockdowns are lifted, because as they keep saying, life is not going to go back to normal. So what do you mean when it's not normal? For example, in offices, they're planning to allow staff to come back, but we could see something like this is something I was reading about, whereby employees are asked to install a mobile app on their phone. And if and everyone has these apps, and the location is being tracked, it's being sent to central servers. If I come in contact with a person, let's say within 6 or 10 feet, which is breaking the so-called social distancing, if I do that, then my score goes down. So if I meet 10 people and I get very close with them at office, my score goes down toward the end of the day. And if I do that for, let's say, 1 week, and this is an actual product by one of these enterprise startups, they actually sell this product that tracks all this. If my score is too low within about a week, they say, okay, you don't need to come to office, you can sit at home because you don't follow these rules. So that's an example of how AI can really bring together all this data in terms of how people are interacting after lockdown, because that's going to be key. Wearing the mask, the social distancing, these things are going to continue as soon as lockdowns are over. There's no change to that. But AI can play a huge part in terms of how governments are able to enforce and get people to comply and implicate people for following or not following certain regimes. So companies should be just like how we saw after 9/11. A lot of companies increased their safety. They opened car boots when you enter office car parks. This was all. It was very crazy to see this level of invasion right after 9/11 to our privacy, but they did it. So just like that, and now it's acceptable. Right now, it's very acceptable that if you want to enter an office building, they check your car boot. So just like that, I think we are going to see fundamentally the way people engage when they're at work, because even after the lockdown, apparently you can't have meetings, you can't have gatherings. I mean, then what's the point in going to office? Why should I take a bus or train to go somewhere and then I have 6 feet with someone? It's crazy. So people are going to be like, okay, I'll sit at home and I'll do my work, and as long as I deliver the output, I achieve what's to be done, and I get paid, and that's going to be the future. But AI is going to play a huge part in regulating and getting people to comply with a lot of these measures. As we saw in Singapore, there's this bot that's going around the parks to scan if people are spaced apart properly. So that there are a lot of examples, and like I said, Singapore will be at the forefront of this. This office example is another one to be thinking about. As soon as offices reopen, we should be seeing something like this. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So that probably sums it up. Yeah. Okay, so I think we dealt with quite a bit today. I shared my views on AI. We spoke about skills of the future. We spoke about UBI. We spoke about the unemployment. I think we covered a very good amount, and it was really fun to have this stream and have so much engagement, have so many people sharing what they think. Of course, some people sharing much more than others, but I really like what's coming, because most important is we have the dialogue, we have the conversation. The conversation must go on. We must question everything. There's a new there's a new way of working. The way we go to offices is changing. All these apps, the surveillance, question it. Weigh the pros and cons and just make sense of it for yourself. I'm not saying protest or something. What I'm saying is we're at a time where we're going to see a lot more changes in the way people go about their lives, go about going out to shop, going out to malls, going out to different places. The way we spend our time is changing. Most of it is online. So amongst all of it, just question everything. Ask yourself, like how I mentioned earlier, which one of these trends would continue as soon as COVID is over, and become kind of part of our habits in the years to come. So that'll be a good way to look at it. It kind of sums it up, right? Okay. So yeah, there we have it. We come to somewhat of an end to the live stream. Okay. Anything else? Anyone want to add anything at this point? Otherwise, we will say goodbye. It was awesome engaging with the Facebook group. Okay. Okay. Cool. So everyone, take care. Okay. Check out the resources that I mentioned. Keep reading. Keep watching. Keep learning new things. It's an excellent time. You could while it away this time. I'm myself watching more movies and TV these days, but I'm also watching much more educational content. I'm also working much more on content to put out on online platforms. And oh yeah. So if it's the first time you're seeing me, I put out content related to business, media, and the latest trends on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, pretty much everywhere. But if you want one place, the ultimate place where I share the most number of posts, most number of information, most videos, that'll be Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram at Prahlad Jaya, and we put out a lot of content over there. Like I said, the latest video, which should be out by tomorrow, is about exactly what we're discussing, which is which businesses are going to be booming during COVID, how our habits are going to be changing. A lot of important topics, relevant topics like this I want to be covering. So if you want to stay up to date with that, go on Instagram, follow me right now. Otherwise, Facebook is a good place. I also share everything there. You can subscribe to the YouTube if you prefer just video. But yeah, across the channels, we'll be putting out stuff related to business, media, and trends. Okay, so a lot of thank yous. Yeah, thank you, Rajesh. Thank you, Smita Auntie. Thank you, Gokul. Thank you, Ajit. So thank you again. Thank you everyone for the opportunity to do this live with all of you over here. I hope you found it informative. I hope you found it engaging. I hope you found it thought-provoking. So go back and just learn more, and you'll be able to come up with your own perspectives, share them, put them online. If you want to reach out to me personally, do that. I love to have conversations. That particular AI video led to so many great one-on-one conversations with people after the video. So I look forward to engaging much more with the community over here, either through live streams like this or personal interactions as well is more than welcome. Thank you so much.